So what happens when you get a species completely, totally wrong? Today, we're diving into an incredible observation report about a group of observers who made a massive miscalculation about a species that, well, would go on to defy every bit of their logic and rewrite the definition of strength itself. Okay, so our story kicks off with this really clinical, almost dismissive line. An advanced species, armed with all the logic and data in the universe, takes one look at Earth and basically says, nothing to see here. From their point of view, humanity was just another easy-to-label data point, ready to be filed away. And right here, this is where the real mystery starts to take shape. See, on one side, you've got these observers, logical, analytical, totally confident in their numbers. But on the other side, a giant empty column, a question mark. Their models could tell them everything humanity wasn't, but they couldn't begin to grasp what humanity was. There was a variable missing from their equation, a big one. And, everything they found at first just seemed to prove them right. Physically, humans were a total letdown. No claws, no armor, just soft. Behaviorally, they were super predictable, driven by this primal need to run away from anything that hurt and find a safe spot. So the conclusion was logical, and it felt absolute. Humanity was weak. And that, of course, led to the one paradox that kept them watching. I mean, if their data was so perfect, if humans were this fundamentally fragile, then how in the world did they end up running their planet? It just didn't add up. The species shouldn't just be surviving. Honestly, by all logical measures, they probably shouldn't even exist. But their quiet little observation mission, that was about to get blown wide open. An unforeseen crisis happening way out in space was about to turn this academic puzzle into a terrifying real-world test with lives hanging in the balance. So what happened was an absolute catastrophe. A mining colony collapsed. And not just anywhere, but on a world that was basically trying to kill you at every turn. The gravity was crushing, the radiation was off the charts. This wasn't just a difficult situation, it was an environment so hostile that the aliens' own superior tech and their elite rescue squads were completely useless from the get-go. So the Alien Council, they're looking at this purely from a logical standpoint, right? And the conclusion they come to is pretty cold. The risk is just too high, the chance of success is zero. It's a write-off. They were ready to declare the miners lost and just call it a day. But then, when all the smart, logical plays are off the table, someone throws out this completely wild idea. A suggestion that goes against every scrap of data they have, everything they think they understand. Can you just imagine the silence in that room? The suggestion just hangs there. Send humans. What? The humans? The soft, fragile species they had just dismissed? That's like sending mice to go fight lions. It made absolutely no sense. So this is the corner they've backed themselves into. Logic says it's a death sentence. You're sending the weakest beings you know into a place where your strongest have already failed. But logic had run out of answers. All they had left was desperation, a final, hopeless roll of the dice. And this is just a perfect picture of the disconnect, right? The team that shows up. I mean, by every alien standard, they are completely, hopelessly outmatched. No fancy tech, no genetic upgrades, just basic gear and something else. Something the aliens couldn't measure yet. All right, so the live feed goes up. The council, the scientists, probably everyone who's anyone, they all gather around. They're expecting to watch this go south and fast. A quick, tragic confirmation of what they already knew. And then, the very first thing happens that shouldn't. The humans step out onto this high-gravity world, and the aliens are just waiting for them to be crushed. But they aren't. They stumble, sure, but then they just adjust their gear and start walking. Right away, the data is starting to look wrong. You can just feel the confusion back in the control room. I mean, their own systems are probably flashing red, screaming, "This is impossible." These humans are way, way outside of any safe zone. And yet, there they are on the screen, just moving forward. And the planet itself just starts throwing everything it has at them. Radiation spikes, threatening to cook them right through their flimsy suits. The pressure is building. Every single indicator is screaming, "Turn back now." And what do? They don't even slow down. Okay, so then it happens. One of the humans just buckles under the strain. And for the aliens, this is it. See, we told you. But what happens next? It's not in their files. They don't leave him behind. They stop, they haul him up, and they keep going. Together. They just keep pushing, right into the crushing darkness, the very heart of the collapse, this place where even the most advanced machines failed. And when another one of their own goes down, overcome, they pull him out. And then they go back in. Can you imagine? For the observers, this is the moment where logic just completely shatters. Why? Why would you go back into certain death? And then you get this final, awful scene. The last rescuer is coming out, literally carrying 2 survivors, and the whole world just gives way. The feed is just chaos, shaking rock and dust, and then black. Nothing. Just static. Absolute silence in that observation room. So for what must have felt like an eternity, they think, that's it. It's over. A total loss. But then, after this deafening silence, a single, tiny signal blinks back to life. And with it comes a truth that just breaks their entire understanding of how the universe works. So let's look at the final scorecard, shall we? Alien rescue attempts, total failure. The human rescue team succeeded. Miners rescued, every last one. And human casualties, 0. The low-threat species just did what was supposed to be impossible. And you just hear the lead scientist, his voice probably barely a whisper, give the order. He starts the process of throwing out the old playbook, of rewriting everything, starting with that very first fundamental assumption they made. And not question, the same one they asked at the very beginning. It's just hanging there in the room again. But this time, it's different. It's not about scientific curiosity anymore. It's about awe. If they aren't weak, then what in the world are they? And finally, they have an answer. Not one you can find on a data pad or in a science textbook, but one they just witnessed with their own eyes. This was the missing data point. This was the reality they just couldn't see before. And that really leaves us with a big question of this whole story, doesn't it? One for us as much as for them. What really is strength? Is it about being invincible, about having the best armor or the biggest claws? Or is it about what you're willing to walk through for someone else?